Good morning, everyone. I'm Laurie, and it's time for the Empower Hour. And the Empower Hour is a weekly segment where I discuss different metaphysical topics and I answer your psychic questions. So I am here live on the YouTube page, the Mystical Moon YouTube page, as well as in the online community where it looks like we have a few people who have signed in already. Good morning, everyone. It's good to see all of you. And I know that quite a few of us have been experiencing quite the changes with this eclipse, as well as with Mercury being retrograde. We had a new moon, so we're starting to build up energy. I don't know about you, but I also have been experiencing some crazy, crazy, crazy dreams. And I've noticed that, well, not just noticed, but it's happening where I'm dreaming about the same person, and I share with her the really interesting stories that are happening in the dream time. And of course, it's all symbolic, but it's really they're kind of funny and they're kind of out in left field, but they definitely have some symbolism. So I most certainly would invite you to take that time to maybe write down your dreams and what you're seeing happening there in the dream state, and the messages as well as the feelings that you have when you wake up, because the dream state is another glimpse of what's going on with the subconscious mind, as well as sometimes it's putting information kind of into different categories to sort it through. It's also how the higher self communicates with us if we're not spending enough time in meditation and or taking that time to quiet ourselves and to go within and to listen to what's going on, have that internal dialogue and that inner inquiry to kind of check in and weigh where we're at with different situations in our lives, and listen, and actually really listen to that voice and attune ourselves to that energy of what's happening there. So I know that I also have had many people come to me and tell me to share their dreams too, that of what is going on in their dream state too. So there's a lot of the energetic influence of that celestial influence is pretty interesting these days, I would say. And so for some people, they're finding themselves coming to the end of the line, like this is it. I have had enough of this situation. I think I'm complete and I'm ready to move forward. So therefore, there may be some shifts in jobs. There may be some shifts in relationships, how you take care of your health or how you don't take care of your body. And not your health. Okay, let me back that up. Your health, not just your physical body, but your mental health, your emotional health. And what about that spiritual hygiene, that health as well? So it's all really being brought to the forefront for all of us. And it's not like spirit's just picking on one person, this person or that person. We are all receiving guidance and messages and that nudge, that spiritual nudge. That's getting us to step outside of our comfort zone and really step into our full potentials. And I know that a lot of people say, these are unprecedented times, but you know what? I think all of our experiences are unique to all of us. And as a collective, I would say we're really feeling the heat turned up. And I know with different time periods that humanity has experienced this push or these challenges to help us come together, to help us sort through and prioritize in a different way, to help us grow and align ourselves with faith. Because actually what's coming up is, I share this, is they're showing me the different world wars, right? So that was pretty serious for those who were here at those times. And then what about the time of the Great Flood? What about, the Trail of Tears? What happened at Wounded Knee? So all of these unfortunate and horrific events have led us all as a collective towards enlightenment and self-awareness. So these are interesting times, and there will always be some people that push us to make that stand for ourselves, right? negative influences, those button pushers who push us outside of our comfort zone. And in fact, they're leading us. They're like, come on. And it's part of the divine plan. It's part of the divine plan from the non-physical realm, our guides, our higher self, our soul collective, all of that, all of those influences are at play here. And the script, there's a script. The script is not so detailed that that free will gets taken out of it. That's what makes it so interesting. However, humanity will continue to go through these deep challenges, these as I said, horrific and painful experiences to help us figure stuff out. And then they're even showing me like when there's a natural disaster, right? You've got tsunamis. Like, look at what happened then. That was an opportunity for us to get together, to bond, to reprioritize. And then they're showing me hurricanes, Hurricane Andrew, Hurricane Charlie. Look what happened to Louisiana. You know, all of these different events are for our highest and best good. And there are souls that choose to be part of the message and the experience and what things that the negative things that happen to them, whether they choose to leave under tragic situations. It's part of the plan, and it's not to excuse any responsibility. In fact, it's to have us take more responsibility in what happens in our experiences. So I know I just kind of got off topic, way off topic, but it's what was coming through from my guides, my higher self, the voices in my head. They say the voices in my head and in my heart. So I hope this has inspired you a little bit, just that part of the Empower Hour this morning, to kind of look at things a little bit differently, to trust the intervention of all that's happening, and to take a look at what's going on in your own life, and continuing to ask yourself the questions of what can I do in the here and the now? What can I do to really get the most out of my experience here? And in that blog I wrote about the eclipse, go big or go home. Let's go big or go home, right? So why not? I'm going to, right here, right now, in the physical, I'm going to push you to embrace your gifts, embrace who you are, and step outside of your comfort zone. And I dare you to dream. I dare you to dream. I also dare you to plant some seeds. And I also dare you to pick up that ball and take it and run. Okay? Gosh, I just feel like there's so many messages here. Before I move on to the topic today, they're also showing me, as I said, take that ball and run. Your guides are showing me a bunch of you that they're waiting for you. Your guides are waiting for you in the end zone, saying, "Score, you got this." So do know that you have your friends, your supporters, your coaches here, but there is, oh my gosh, I can't even tell you, hundreds of light beings that are working with each and every one of us, that are rooting from us, and as well as those from our soul group. And I feel like I could go on a whole other spiel this week, but we're going to bring it right back to the topic for this morning. So it's so good to see so many people in the online community, as well as on the YouTube page. Good morning, everyone. And on the YouTube page, if you go to the chat area, you could type in your question and or comments about the topic matter, as well as I'd love to hear some input about how the eclipse has affected you all here that are tuned in today. In the meantime, so I'm going to go to my notes a little bit. So with the eclipse here in Southwest Florida, I really didn't get to see too much of it, although it did feel a little weird. Well, I'm not gonna lie, it was a little weird. It was a little gray outside. And I'll tell you what, I worked the storefront in Fort Myers for the first half of the day, and it was so busy. Oh my gosh, so many people were coming in to get their crystals and some candles and maybe their sage to prepare themselves for their little spiritual meditation and experience during the eclipse. And we had some folks that had readings at that time, and then there were quite a few people with Reiki sessions around in that time frame. So it's very it was a very beautiful thing to see so many people looking to spirituality and their own connections and connecting with another being, meditating, and just soaking up all that that rare opportunity for that energy that we were all experiencing. So I'm so grateful for the friends that live, say, in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Oregon that were taking photos, and it just was a really lovely event, really lovely event. And I think it came just at the right time, although there's no coincidence that such an event, bringing people together and everybody talking about this instead of that for a long time, right, the negative stuff. It was really quite a beautiful thing. And I'm going to say, well played, guys, up there. And gals. All right, so moving forward. For myself, too, I did notice that a few seeds, larger seeds that I had planted pre-eclipse, maybe from the last 3 months ago, 3 months ago, all of a sudden, all came together within the last 48 hours. How cool is that, right? So it's like, oh, we did the work, planted the seeds, I watered them, I said, okay, Spirit, you still hear me? And then they just sprouted beautifully. And in a way that feels like a heavy blanket was lifted. And I invite all of you to do that every once in a while, okay? I do want to share some of the comments. Marnell says, this eclipse has shaken up my beliefs. Don't know what my path is. So what beliefs are you speaking of? And maybe it's old thought processes. And I think it's a really awesome thing. If you don't know where your path is leading, you may right now be in a place of, I was going to say embracing, but I'm going to say acknowledging what you don't want. So you might be in a place of that uncertainty where you're not sure where you're going, but you most certainly do know you're not enjoying this over here. This over here is not feeling that awesome, and you know that you may not want to continue that path. So I hope that makes sense for you, Marnell. So there's a positive thing here. There's a positive influence, okay? So you may not know where you're going, but you sure as heck know, I think I'm pretty complete in this area. And I'm going to encourage you to not make that a bad thing. And what do I mean by not making it a bad thing? So if you know that you aren't comfortable and you're pretty complete with this experience, in order to move forward, we don't need to talk too negatively about where you're at and why you don't want to be there anymore. Because you know what? There are some people that are okay with being where they're at. Maybe coworkers or friends or family, maybe they're okay in that experience. So it's up to you to, I don't want to say keep it to yourself, but try not to spill your own discomfort or share it with those who are in that experience now. I hope that makes sense, okay? Because sometimes I try to articulate it, and it doesn't always come through as eloquent as what they're showing me. So hang in there, plant some seeds, and maybe some of those seeds, Marnell, are going to be, oh gosh, I want to be happy. I don't know where I want to go, but you can say, okay, my intention is to be in a place of peace, joy, and personal fulfillment, and so on and so forth. And I ask Spirit to help me be in alignment with that path. Okay? And you're welcome. Right, I'm going to go to the YouTube page because I know Shell has made a comment. She feels a lot of energy, and it's hard for her to stay grounded for a long time. I hear you. I hear you, because sometimes all of these thoughts and it's like keep coming in, and this creativity, and you get sucked out of your body. So I'm going to encourage you to spend a little bit more time outside, depending where you're at. It might be super hot, but go out for smaller periods of time. In your case, Shell, I think going by water will help. Sometimes I don't see that water is going to help someone stay grounded, but for you, I feel it will help you remain in your body and feel a little bit more connected and stay in that body. You can work with different crystals. Patchouli incense, patchouli on the feet will help keep you grounded in the body. All right. Let me get back to here. All right. So thank you for sharing those experiences. And it's still kind of happening. We're still feeling the after effects, that flow of energy. So if we could see it as a building up, here we are, we're at the height of it, and then it starts to still kind of fade away, but we're still having those effects and feeling that frequency there as well. Okay. All right. So you're welcome. Moving forward. The other thing that I have noticed is an increase in intuition with the collective. And you know what? Maybe it has to do with all of these people, all of us who are intending to spend time quietly looking at this event up in the sky. And it may have raised our intuition as a collective. So I have noticed that some things like I would say kind of funny intuitive things, because it's like, oh, that's so funny and interesting. Although I've been doing this forever, right, for a very long time, I still have delight. And when things kind of happen randomly. So I will share just a couple of things that happened yesterday and had me chuckling. And when you laugh, when you bring laughter in, it raises the energy. So it doesn't mean that I don't have things on my plate or that I'm concerned with. But when I bring laughter in, it raises me up and it helps align me with the solutions and the validation with that intuition too, that things are all exactly how they're supposed to be. So I've been, as I mentioned, dreaming about the same person for a while, and I was emailing her the dream. I was laughing. And then as I'm typing in that email, someone calls, because I was working at the front desk in Fort Myers. They call to sign up for the crystal bowl meditation last night, and their name is the same name as the person I was emailing. I thought, oh my gosh, that's so funny. That's really funny. And so I laughed, haha, right? So that still raised that vibration. It got me to pay attention that there's more to work at play. There's more at work at play. There's more at play here with what's going on. And just earlier yesterday too, I thought, I was thinking about this lady, Jenny. She makes these really cool fairy doors. And she had called, I don't know, a few weeks ago or so. And she had said, oh, I have more if you want them. I said, that's fine, just bring them in. I'll let the front desk know, because she was going to go to Fort Myers. So I said, I'll let the front desk know that you're coming in and they'll pick some out and then I'll mail you a check. She said, okay, that sounds good. And yesterday, as I was in the storefront at Fort Myers, I was thinking, gosh, I forgot to tell everybody about Jenny coming in. Not be darn, like 10 minutes later, she walked in the door. So that kind of made me laugh. I was like, okay, oh, that's interesting. And then I laughed. Oof, good thing I didn't have to go explain that. But anyway, to the other people. So those are just two examples of how the intuition, those intuitive messages and impressions are magnified these days. Okay? So enjoy it. Pay attention. Acknowledge it. All right? And I'm going to give you one more thing that happened yesterday. So for the crystal bowl meditation, I select a deck of cards from the store and have everybody pull one card. So I noticed that this deck of power animal cards fell, I want to say it was like 3 times. The demo fell 3 times, and they're by Stephen Farmer. They're awesome cards. And after the 3rd time, I said, okay, I will use you tonight, because I hadn't quite pulled it all together yet of what exactly I was going to do. So they're power animal messages. And then I selected a leopard jasper, and then I had the oil dream time. And everybody that came in for that meditation, I believe there was either 13 or 15 people, they all, as they selected the card, thought, oh my gosh, this is so interesting, because it all made sense to them. It was a validation of all the messages they had been receiving. So I want all of you to really stop and pay attention and notice the symbolism and the signs that are all around us all of the time. Okay? All right, so on the YouTube page, Shell says, hello from Long Island. I'm from Long Island too, so hello there. I'm from New Hyde Park, Queens. It's so funny. I'm also meeting a lot of people that are from the same area. No coincidence. So I will get to the psychic questions after I talk a little bit about the divination tools. So my topic for today is something that people have asked a lot about. And that has to do with divination tools, to use them or not to use them. So this past weekend, I was teaching a weekend class on mediumship and channeling. And they had some questions about that, about if you use a divination tool, does it make you not a psychic? And I'll tell you what, a lot of people do call the front desk and ask. They say, I don't want a tarot reader, I want someone who's psychic. Well, in order for you to be a gifted tarot reader or rune reader or pendulum reader or crystal reader or tea leaf reader, you really do need to be intuitive and psychic to blend the messages that come through for you with that system of divination. So I do want to say this, that because it is a big misconception, because somebody uses a divination tool or system, let's call it a system, that it doesn't mean they're less intuitive. In fact, I know of some very, very, very hyper intuitive people, readers, that use tarot, or they'll use their runes, they might use oracle cards. It doesn't mean that they are less gifted because they use something, they use a system of divination. And for many people that have been reading for a long time, they may use this system, the chosen, their preferred divination tool, because it's part of their routine. It's part of their routine to select that card or to say that prayer. And that helps align them with their higher self and helps they feel more comfortable. It's how they do it, right? We all are, a lot of us are creatures of habit. I won't say we all are, but you have your routine and you feel comfortable doing that. And it's this inner conditioning that you are creating as you go through the motions. It's like, okay, getting ready. The mind, the body, the spirit are getting ready. Oh, it must be channeling time. It must be reading time. It must be sharing messages time, because I am doing these things. Some people hold certain crystals and they feel really comfortable when they hold those certain crystals. And it just is that conditioning, that routine, that ritual that aligns them. I was going to say helps align them, but it automatically aligns them with message time or their higher guidance. And so I would say that that is more of a myth, that because someone's using a divination tool or working with a divination system, that it does not make them less psychic or not psychic. Okay? Because there's so many different tools out there or systems. There's tarot cards, there are runes, there are crystals, tea leaves. Some people read with a pendulum and the pendulum moves. Some people read coffee grinds. Some people work with the I Ching. There just are so many different ways of divining. We'll call it divining, right? And it just all fascinates me. And some you might feel more comfortable with, and some you might not feel comfortable with, because you know why? Because you feel you need to know all of the cards before you move forward. It's kind of that thing too. It's like, oh, I need to know all the cards before I can read. If I don't have all of the meaning, then I'm not able to give a good message. But really, when I teach reading cards, it really is about you centering yourself and aligning yourself with your higher guidance, and knowing what the cards mean for you, knowing what their message is, knowing the vibration, what the symbolism, what does the symbolism mean to you? And so this card, right? So this is the Knight of Cups. I don't know why I had to look at it, but because I can see it here. The Knight of Cups. So what do the images on here stir within you? What do you see? What's going on there? He's holding his cup up. He's got a lot of red. His horse is kind of like on its back legs. What does all of that mean, right? Some really beautiful images in this photo. And some people call this one the Knight in Shining Armor. So your job as an intuitive, you're sharing messages, is to trust the message that comes through. So you could go into, this is the Knight of Cups. The Knights are movement cards. No, for 99.999% of the card readers that I know, use their intuition, and this symbolism unlocks information. It automatically, when they work, when they connect with their cards, they have energy, they have vibration. It aligns them with that consciousness of that wisdom that opens up some intuitive channels for you. Are they a crutch? I would say I don't really see them as a crutch. I see them as aligning you with a consciousness that has information, a consciousness that helps open you up and align you to different vibrations and planes of frequency. And I do see a question about the cards here. Hold on one second. I attended your tarot class, and I want to know if it's okay to carry my cards with me in my car and take them out in any space after clearing it with intention. Well, if you're asking your own questions for yourself or whatever's going on, yeah, I don't see anything wrong with taking them in the car. I will encourage you to not overdo it, not use them as like a necessary means to answer every question. But if you're wanting to connect with them, sure, bring them with you. I know a lot of people that have the little cards. They're the mini size, and they carry them with them in their purse. Like, they're like this big. They're so cute. So they're travel size. I know Mary Alice has a smaller deck. I know that Claudia has a mini deck, and they carry them with them. You never know, right? You never know when something's going to come up. You might need to do an emergency reading, and I may, say that tongue in cheek, but stuff happens, Stuff happens. When Joanna sometimes works the front desk, you never know. If I'm a backup and I'm doing paperwork in the back, and the other reader is booked, she has her cards with her. She carries them with her just in case. You never know. So there's nothing wrong with that, but I definitely would cleanse and clear them. And I wouldn't open, and I wouldn't open up the space for readings for ego reasons, negative ego reasons. All right. I hope that makes sense. Good. All righty. So I'm going back to the YouTube page. I see quite a few people tuned in, and not many questions or comments. And so sometimes people tell me that, oh, I watched it on YouTube, and maybe they were at work or something, or somewhere where they couldn't really type it from their phone. So I appreciate all of you tuning in, and I can see all of you. I see who you are. No, just kidding. Sometimes I know that some of the information that is shared and that comes through is because my higher self is hearing your higher selves questions and wondering about certain areas and so on and so forth. So it's kind of fun. And oh, good, somebody else typed in on the YouTube page. So Shell has, so she's from North Babylon. Okay, cool. Yeah, like I said, I'm from Queens and Nassau County, New Hyde Park. So Marcia has a question that her yard has been filled with dragonflies and butterflies this week. I feel like there's a message that you're missing. I don't think you're missing any message. I do think that, I'm going to answer that one quick and I'll go a little bit more to the divination. I do think that some of the, this is what they're telling me. The dragonflies are some of your spirit guides connecting, and I see two of them really trying to connect. And I feel like I see one dragonfly, I see another one. I see one dragonfly, I see another one. And so I feel like the dragonflies are your spirit guides communicating with you. And then the butterflies are a few loved ones that have crossed over. They're telling me two females and a male that are communicating with you. So Marcia, if you can, please go spend some time meditating and spend some time meditating. And I would ask your spirit guides to please give you their names. And then I would ask those butterflies who have crossed over loved ones to share some, to announce themselves. And actually one of those females that I see is a pet, okay? All right, and oh, so good to see spiritual communities. Good morning to you. I'm so glad you are all typing in the chat. It's good to see all of you there. So I'm going to just switch a little bit to the online community. All right, I don't see any other questions, so I'm going to keep moving forward. And if anybody else has a comment too on either page or question, please type that in. back to my notes. So with the divination tools, to use them or not to use them, that is the question, and I'm going to say that's up to you. So whether you use them or not, it's a personal preference. And I'm really going to encourage you to not worry so much about what other people say, like, oh, those, if you use that, that's bad. I know someone who had a reading who used that type. Or if I had this question from somebody the other day, well, if they don't use cards, how do they receive that information? Well, whether you use the cards or not, or if you use crystals or not, or if you read the tea leaves or not, the information is coming from your higher guidance. So you're still psychic. Remember, we're still listening to the messages when we're reading those cards or whatever we're doing, whatever system of divination we're using, and we're still listening to those messages. Okay, we're being aware of all the symbolism that is happening in that moment when our intention is to align ourselves and to connect with that higher guidance. So I invite you to play around with different tools, and when I mean play, I mean sample, but go at it with the energy of reverence, right? So like with my cards, and I teach about when you work with cards, cleanse them, clear them, thank them, set the space. Don't just throw them in the corner somewhere. Maybe put them in a cloth bag or box, or put a crystal on top of them. And it's like the divination system is a representation of spirit, just as if you were to open up the space without any tools or any system of divination. You're setting that intention in that prayer to open up the place and the space for messages. Okay, so they're also telling me too that don't forget that there was a woman who used to come to this area and channel, and she used her body as a divination tool. You know what she did? She used to do this. Let's see if you can see me as I do this. She used to do this. She used to have her hands, and she would do the circle, and this was her hands were her divination tool. Right? So this was a way that she was able to align herself and open up and connect, and she felt comfortable. So her hands are her divination tool. So I encourage you to not get caught up with whether you're using cards. It doesn't mean I'm psychic, or tea leaf readings or whatever it is. Work with your psychic journal. If you don't have one, get a notebook, start writing down all of your thoughts, journal your thoughts, your meditations, your dreams, your intuitive hits. And then as you see all of these things getting checked off, like your psychic impressions and hits, and it's like, oh my gosh, that happened. That's a psychic do-good. And that's what Sandy Anastasia calls them, psychic do-goods. And for me, I call it a psychic hit list. And as you check them off, what you're doing is you're bringing positive reinforcement. So that helps with your confidence, whether you use a tool or not. And I tell you what, that I just really love teaching psychic development, and it is a passion of mine. And I just absolutely love when people, when I see the lights go off in people's eyes, and I see their consciousness expand, and I see them starting to empower themselves with finding their own solutions. And I just absolutely love watching these responses. So Kelly has a comment in the online community. My best divination tool is the Pandora app on shuffle. I asked Spirit to send me messages through music, and it has come through for me every time. I love that. And Myra says she does the same thing. I absolutely love that, because here it's like you're saying, okay, what do I need to know? Or what am I missing? And what's my guidance for today? What's today's message? And sure enough, Spirit says, select, here you go, listen at this time. And that's another really awesome way of divining for yourself and using something to help validate things. I'm going back to the YouTube page here, and it's so good to see you. Good to see you too. I'll see you soon. I think you'll be. Oh, by the way, I did want to mention this. There's if you're in Southwest Florida. Oh shoot, I don't have the date. Peace Day is in September. I think it's the 25th. I'm not 100% sure. I'll make sure that I mention that here next week. Peace Day in the park. It's in Cape Coral at JC Park, and it's a really awesome day of connecting with community, like-minded people. You could bring your pets, and I believe when you go there as well. I think you've been there before, and I hope to see you there too. And at any event, I know that you're pretty much there in the area. And so what the Spiritual Communities Network is, it's a meetup group. And I know you have quite the reach there, but I know there's events in Naples, Fort Myers, Sarasota, where you can go onto this free resource and see what's happening in your area. So I invite you to check out Spiritual Communities if you haven't already. There's so many awesome things, and I know you're expanding on your website too, and it looks great. There's just a plethora of information, and you can sample different things or see who you connect with, or listen to your soul as you do that. So I know that community is so important. It's so important. It's how we get to share and raise each other up and support each other, and we get to learn a lot from each other as well. So back to the divination tool. So the most important thing is that you're connecting to your higher power, and you know when information is flowing through your intuition or from another place, when to trust it and when it is the ego, the negative ego. And that's a whole other subject matter as well. So I hope that today's topic, or a couple of topics, brought a little bit more insight and clarity to you if you were kind of on the fence of, should I use a divination tool or not? Is it bad? Is it wrong? Am I not receiving as clear of information as I could? And so on and so forth. So hopefully that made some sense to you. And also the information that Spirit shared in regards to the eclipse and all these changes and planting your seeds and listening to your intuition and so on and so forth. All right, so I'm going to give you a few seconds to type in any comments or questions that you may have. And I did want to share with all of you a few things that are happening here at the Mystical Moon, which I kind of skipped over that part. So this Friday in the Fort Myers store, Paulette is hosting an herbal magic class. So we're going to learn what to do, how to use these herbs to create magical intentions, and how to enhance our lives with herbs. And we know that herbs have been used throughout time. They're natural medicine, but you can add them to a little pouch. They have vibration. They can have shift energy. Just like crystals, they can bring in energy, take away energy, enhance energy. And so I'm looking forward to that class. If you're interested, it's at the Fort Myers store, and it starts at 7 p.m. on Friday, and it's $25. So we really do ask that you RSVP for any and all classes here, because this way we want to make sure that we have enough material for everybody. Also, this Saturday at the Bonita Springs Fair, Psychic Fair, we are hosting from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. They're like, fix that quick. 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I know I'll be working the front desk. I'm not sure if I'm working the front desk with Lindsay or my daughter Nicole, but I know it's going to be a great day. So we have Pam is filling in. Pam Zock is filling in with mini Reiki sessions, and she's getting really full. She's almost booked. We have Claudia Johnson. We have Belinda Inman, and we have Jenny Martin. And then we have Marianne, who is offering as a gift 10-minute channeled sessions, and all of the donations. So it's going to be by love donation are going to go to St. Matthew's House. So if you're interested, please call the Bonita store for that event. And then on Sunday, we have Joanna's Sacred Soul Sunday. And Sacred Soul Sunday is a lovely gathering that's growing and growing and growing and growing, where it's an hour of sharing meditation. There's always a theme for the week that Joanna prepares for all of you to discuss and to bring that energy in for the week. And then, of course, on Monday, we have Jenny Martin's Spiritual Enlightenment class in the Fort Myers store. There will not be a crystal bowl meditation this upcoming Tuesday because it's the 5th Tuesday. So that's a Tuesday. I'm going to take the day off. And then from bowls, and then we do have a lot of new products that have been brought into the stores. We've been replenishing from the busy times we've had. I mean, it's been really busy these days. And so my job is to try to stay on top of that so I don't run out of stuff, and that's so frustrating what I do. But anyhow, it means that all of you are really loving the good products, the awesome products that we have here. I've also been bringing in more magical books. for Halloween, and just really, it's something I totally love doing, is restocking the store, finding new mystical goodies, and also we also have our healers and our readers here that are available for all of you. So that's all I got right now. Anyhow, so I would love to get into the questions that you have for me here this morning. I know there was. I'm going to go to the YouTube hangout here. Okay, so on the YouTube, so Shell had a question. She's open to anything that Spirit has to say for this week. So I'm going to select 3 cards for you. And let's see what we've got for you. I'm going to select 3. So the way that I would do this, right, if I'm working my cards, I say, all right, the question is, what is the energetic theme or the consciousness theme for Shell for this upcoming week? Being that it's Wednesday already, so we're going to go Wednesday to Wednesday. I'm going to select 3 cards. And as I select them, before I even look at them, you get a sense, you get a feeling, right? So that's also how you can connect with all of that. And the feeling that it's interesting. The feeling that I had was, I'm not going to say emptiness or void, but what I see is that there's been a lot of change, and I see her pushing what doesn't serve her, like outside of her inner space, her mind space. And then it feels light. And then what I see, then they show me these influences trying to come in, because Spirit doesn't like a void. If there's a void, something's going to try to fill that space. And so whether it's affirmations or reviewing belief systems, new belief systems that you're trying to integrate. And they're showing me that might be a little bit of a challenge, because I also see some things being kind of thrown at you from left field. And you have the opportunity of keeping it on the outside and not allowing it to come into your inner space. So you have the devil, which is a challenger. The devil has to do with our negative ego, as well as the temptations. And then you have the Ace of Wands reversed. So you even have an awareness that, oh my gosh, I know that this is not healthy for me, yet it might be a shortcut. And then we have the Two of Pentacles reversed. And in that instance, I want to say that has to do with, like, even talking yourself out of internalizing things. And I want you to remember that you have done a lot of work to shift some things within your inner space. Try not to allow outside influences to get inside, okay? I hope that makes sense. And just remember that. And all these things that keep popping up, they could be temptations, all right? So try not to allow them to disturb your inner sanctuary, your inner peace. All right, Myra's question is, if I switch my major from bachelor's in business administration to bachelor's in alternative medicine, will I be successful? Let's see what we got here. I have a yes, but I feel like that is going to, I have a yes. However, I see a lot of stress around that. I see you feeling like you need to validate that for other people. I see a lot of paperwork. I see a lot of red tape. And then what I see is that alternative medicine is going to lead you into even another direction that piggybacks off of that. So I see alternative medicine. I feel very comfortable with that. However, I think that some of the business information that you have already learned about, like, all right, that's already in your being, is really going to help you with the alternative medicine, right? So it's a great transition, great segue. So what you have as the most challenging card, you have the Ten of Swords, because I think that this has really been weighing heavy on your mind and your spirit, and it's giving a little bit of anxiety. Should I, shouldn't I? And then you have the Four Swords. However, you really have gone within. You've checked in with yourself, and maybe kind of what I had brought up earlier. Do I really want this? Kind of like what's going on with Marnell. Do I want to do this? Do I really want to do this? I'm not exactly sure which direction to go, but I know that I don't want to completely move into that direction. And then I have the world reversed. So what that means is I have my yes, because it's 2 or 3 right side up. But then we're going to look at this world reversed. To me, it means that that is not the final answer. That is not the final destination of where you'll be heading. So it's going to expand upon that. So I do think that it's success. So you'll be successful, but what is success to you? And I want you to think about that. Is it that I am financially independent, which I'm sure that's part of it? And also, will I be happy doing this? Will I be fulfilled on a personal level? Okay, so I hope that helps a lot. Kelly asks, what's behind all this anxiety that I'm feeling lately? I do think part of it is the disturbance with all of this stuff that's happening across our country, like the pot stirred. And there's misdirected anger. I'm just going to put one word out there, politics. And I feel like this is, like, it's all part of it, like the growth for everybody. But I feel like a lot of this is, and I'm not one side or the other. I'm just saying I feel like there's a lot of misdirected anger. And I think that a lot is going to be uncovered. A lot of masks will be revealed. But for Kelly too, so that's part of it. I feel like as an empath, you're feeling some of that. They're saying with some of this anxiety is that you over the last couple of, like, maybe weeks, almost 2 weeks, you've stepped away from, you've lost your mojo. You've lost your mojo, Kelly, and I'll show you the cards that I have. So I'm laughing about this because the way Spirit's bringing it through. But you could get that mojo back because it's that special stuff that's within you. You've kind of stepped away from the things that and activities and the situations and the people that you know feed your soul. You need to feed your soul. And in that way, you've lost your mojo, which helps you rise above and disconnect from what's going on the outside. You have the sun. So it's not very joyful right now. Then you have the 10 of Wands reversed. There's no, what I'm saying is, like, it feels like there's no end to the tasks and the burdens that you're trying to take care of and check off your list. And then you have the 2 of Swords reversed. So you're not able to quite pinpoint exactly what it is, but it's not just one thing. It's several things. So get your mojo, go find your mojo, and you'll notice a huge shift within yourself. And Myra, you are most welcome. You're most welcome. So I'm going to go into the online community. And you're welcome, Shell. So, this person, IS. Hi, so happy to catch you live. My question is timing regarding ending a relationship. Well, let's see. Oh, it's not IS, it's LS. Okay, so let me see what we have here, Liz. I actually am hearing sooner than later because I still see you feeling uncomfortable. I see you feeling uncomfortable, Liz, but what I also see is that you're not exactly there yet emotionally. You're almost there. Like I have the understanding, I know that I need to do this. However, I feel like you're not quite as confident and solid within you. Okay. Yeah, it's totally true. Okay. So, and you're so worried about the other person, right? What they're saying for you is to have your game plan in place. And it's so weird because I'm looking to the side over here and there's a picture of Buddha and the letter G. I've never noticed this. There's a letter G on there. So I don't know who the G is. First name, last name, there's something with a G there. And I want you to kind of think about that. Okay, but with their show, like, I'm so distracted by that. Anyways, let me get back here. And I don't think it's gee whiz. If I was to go to, wait, is this months? I don't know. No, it is, no, weeks. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3. So I'm going to say within the next 3 to 4 weeks, I do think that the timing will be more clear to you and exact. And I want you to really be in observation mode of what's going on in that relationship right now, so that you can recognize your part, their part, what else you need to understand on a deeper, with a bigger picture, so you don't have that repetitive situation happen in the future. So what you have is the Empress, which is all about newness. Like there are new ideas and this creativity that's just kind of brewing within you, but you're not quite sure which way to go yet. It's like, I could see when I'm out of the situation, when I end the situation, oh my gosh, everything's going to open up for me. However, there are still some emotions and feelings that you have with this Queen of Cups yet that I feel there's still a little bit of confusion. And I want you to be a little bit more solid in yourself. And then here we have the Knight of Cups reverse. So that's that Prince Charming, but it's reversed. So it's like the flow, the emotion is not quite there as where it was before. And so you don't know about the G, but it's a J. So could the J be like Joe is also George? So is it pronounced kind of the same? So you can write that there. And Shell's question is, have you worked with the medicine cards? Yeah, absolutely I have. I love that deck by Jamie Sams and David Carson. Awesome deck. We have that in both stores. Oh, the answer is a yes. So Liz, oh yes, so that's the person. So that's your validation. That's your validation that you are clear, that spirit, oh, I got the chills, that spirit will help you with this, okay? So you got it, hon. Hang in there, and yes, continue to be in observation mode, and you'll know exactly when the timing is right. So as of right now, I'm feeling 2 to 3 weeks, okay? I hope that helped you there. All right. Okay, let me get to my online community, and we're just about out of time. Kelly says, back to the online community with her question. Yes, it's true. Thank you so much. And I had all this stuff planned for the eclipse, and my son got sent home from school sick, so that threw a curve in my plans. Yep, sure did. So in that, but you could still tap into that energy, ride the wave of this. But you know, spirit also knows what your intentions were and are when it comes to the eclipse and all that energy, okay? So it's still a good time to do so, because also we've just passed the new moon, so we're building energy. We're bringing in now. The phase of the moon is bringing in. All right? Awesome. All right, everyone. So I thank all of you for tuning in, and you're so welcome, Liz. Thank you all for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you next week. I don't know, maybe we'll talk a little bit about the ego, the positive ego and the negative ego. It's a challenge that we all deal with, right? All right, you're so welcome on the YouTube page, Shell. You're welcome. Liz, you're welcome. And Marcia, you're welcome. It's so good to see you too, Gwen. And love to all of you. Thank you all in the online community. Thank you. I look forward to discussing that ego next week. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so take care. Namaste. Bye-bye, everybody.